You do. Okay. So I'm going to take some more questions before I dive into the adjustment of status. This should give you enough time to share for others to join. So please share. Now that I have given you the latest update, we are ready to discuss the adjustment of status. So please share so that others will join. Please share, please share, please share. Facebook, are we good now? Can you hear me? I'm not sure what's going on Facebook. It appears as though someone, when I come online, someone just disconnects. I'm not sure why, but immigrant brave. So we'll move on. We're going to move on. I'm going to take a few questions before I dive into the topic for the day, adjustment of status. So if you do have any questions, please type it in. I would take a few more questions. It looks like Facebook is stable now. Okay. I saw my mom online. I'm sure my mom is praying for me at this point. Hi, mommy. Thank you. I saw my mom online. I'm sure she probably said a prayer for me because it wasn't stable. But we are back on Facebook. So please share. I'm sorry that we had a technical hitch. I'm not sure why, but I'm glad that we are back. So please share. Facebook, YouTube, I gave some immigration news. We are yet to discuss the topic for the day, which is adjustment of status, which is going to get you the green card. So we're actually now going to discuss the fun stuff. So please invite others to join. Share so that others will join. Please share. Please share so that others will join. What is this badge that everybody's sending me on TikTok? I'm not sure what it is. Okay. Someone is asking whether you can afford. Please, you can afford. When I relocated to the United States, I couldn't afford an attorney. I thought attorneys were so expensive at the time. But going through law school, I think I understand why attorneys are pricey. But here's the thing. We have made our prices relatively cheaper so that you can afford us. And we also give you payment plan, okay? So you can pay in installments as well. So you will be fine. So definitely you can afford AB Legal Consult. I'm taking a few more questions before I dive into the topic for the day. Okay, I gave someone is asking whether I can work in Jersey. We are licensed to work in all 50 states. So yes, we can. Hashtag immigrant brave. Okay, please share so that others will join. Please share. Please share so that others will join. Can I get can I adjust my status if my F1 visa is revoked? Please give my office a call. I need to understand the basis of that, okay? So whatever I say here is not going to be legal advice. It's just for general knowledge only. If you need legal advice, please give my office a call, 703-705-9905. Then we can chat and I would give you legal advice. So whatever I say here is not legal advice. I need to understand what is going on with your case, and your messages or your questions will not capture everything. I need to understand your immigration history and what went into the revocation or the denial that you have received. And so without that, I won't be able to give you any legal advice. And so please give us a call, 703-705-9905. When you book a consultation and then we ask questions, we probe, we get to understand what is going on with your case. Then we can give you legal advice. And so whatever I say here, it's not legal advice. It's just for information purposes and for your knowledge, okay? And so if you need legal advice, please give my office a call, 703-705-9905. All right, so the topic of the day, adjustment of status. What is adjustment of status? What does the process entail? What is the eligibility requirements? What are the eligibility criteria? Quite a number of them. And after you have determined that you check all those boxes and you do qualify to file an adjustment of status, what form do you need to fill? What pieces of evidence do you need to submit or attach to your adjustment of status petition? And after you have submitted the adjustment of status, what happens? Okay, so that's what we're going to be discussing. Please share so that others will join. Please share. Hey, USCIS is making sure that vulture administration lawyers don't make a dime of current situation. I don't understand. And please be nice. It costs nothing to be nice. Please be nice, okay? Be nice, be very polite, be measured in your words, okay? All right, adjustment of status. So what is adjustment of status? It is a process to apply for lawful permanent residence, also known or popularly known as the green card, when you are physically present in the United States. Okay, so you only file an adjustment of status when you are physically present in the United States. You undergo consular processing if you are not physically present in the United States. So adjustment of status only happens when you are physically present in the United States. Now, what is the main eligibility requirement? So INA section 245A says that a non-citizen is eligible to adjust their status. So when you're adjusting your status, you're changing from one category of visa to lawful permanent residence. So you come in on a B1, B2, and then you're applying to be a lawful permanent residence where you're going to get the green card. Okay. So you can adjust from one visa to legal permanent residency. That is basically it. I don't even want to sound legalese. So you're moving from one category of visa, non-immigrant visa, mostly temporary visa, to a more permanent one, which is going to give you the green card. So the main eligibility requirement, to be able to adjust your status, you must have been inspected and admitted or paroled into the United States. So if you came through the border, it's going to be very difficult for you to adjust your status, even though you're physically present here. So to be admitted and be inspected, what that means is that you come into the US, you have a passport, you got a visa, you sat on a plane, and then you're inspected. You come into the US that way. At that point, you have been inspected, you have been admitted. And for those who have been paroled, so there are times that you are inadmissible, but then you are paroled, you are allowed to remain or enter into the United States and remain here. So you must have been inspected, admitted, or paroled into the country. Now, you must also have an immigrant visa available to you. What does that mean? There are times that, classic example, when you get married to a lawful permanent resident, a visa is not immediately available to you. And so you won't be able to adjust your status immediately. You have to wait for the priority date. You have to wait for your priority dates to become current. It is at that point that you can adjust your status. But if you get married to a US citizen, you can file concurrently. When you marry a US citizen, there's a visa immediately available to you. When a US citizen files for a US citizen parent files for their child, a visa is immediately available to them, unless, of course, the child is abroad or the child is here and the parent is abroad. Then at that point, consular processing, not an adjustment of status. So remember that you must have an immigrant visa available to you. And then also make sure that you have not been barred by or you have not violated the status of your visa. So I tell people all the time, when you come to, and I understand, even before I say this, I want you to know that I understand. I am an immigrant. I absolutely understand. If you have followed me for a while, I'm sure you have heard me say that even when you speak with your feet, when an immigrant speaks with your feet, or you do sign language, I understand. I do. I know what it means to be an immigrant. I know what it means to adjust, to just find your feet. I think when we started the live stream, I saw someone say that they are watching me from Bronx, and I said that I have lived in the Bronx before. Grand Concourse, actually. My immigration story is a typical immigrant story, where 1 minute you live in this state, the next minute you're here, you're hustling there, doing this, doing all sort of things before you begin to live your American dream. So I totally understand. But listen, when you come into the US on a B1, B2, I know that as immigrants, you try to find your feet. We all did, right? You try to find your feet, but it's important that you don't violate the status of your visa, okay? Because the moment you violate the status of your visa and you are caught, okay? So everybody can do anything. I'm not advising you to, but the moment you are caught, that's a game changer. And so to be able to adjust your status, you want to make sure that you haven't violated any immigration law Okay, so F1 students who are looking to adjust their status someday, you don't have to engage in unauthorized work. That can be a problem. It's going to be a problem when you're ready to adjust your status. I'm not saying you should lie, but what I'm saying is that I understand that immigrants, I understand. Okay. I totally understand. But what you want to think about is make sure that whatever you're doing, you be mindful. Be very, very mindful, because if you engage in unauthorized work, although I understand the hassle that comes with being a student and you are caught, that can be a potential problem when you're ready to adjust your status. And so make sure that when you're ready to adjust your status, if you have violated any immigration law and you are banned, you won't be able to adjust your status. So I understand the immigrant hassle. When I say I understand, I do, because I have been there. But please be mindful, okay? So what are the eligibility categories? So we just discussed what adjustment of status is. We have discussed the INA section 245A. So the eligibility categories: number one, green card through family. So you can adjust your status after your family member has petitioned for you by filing the I-130. Remember that when we talk about family for the purpose of immigration, is your immediate family. What does immediate family entails? Your parents, child, siblings, okay? Cousins, aunties, grandmother doesn't count as an immediate family. I think on Wednesday I met with a group of people in our webinar, and I shared with them the fact that someone reached out and said they knew someone who said, a socialite in Ghana, who kept saying that my grandmother filed for me, my grandmother filed for me. And so this person is probably lying. And I said to them that that is not true. A grandmother can file for their child, okay? So grandmother can file for their child. And when the child has children, they derive the benefits from their grandmother. And so nobody is lying when they say my grandmother filed for me, because the grandmother didn't file straight for their grandchild. The grandmother filed for their son or their daughter, and their son or their daughter had children. And so the children derived that benefit from the parents, okay? So it's okay that someone would say that my grandmother filed for me. The grandmother did not file directly for the grandchild. So for the purpose of immigration, immediate family, mother, father, siblings, and children. Okay, so there's also green card through employment, okay, where you either file for yourself through the EB1 or the EB2 national interest waiver, or you have a sponsor file for you. So green card through employment, EB1, EB2 through to EB5, the popular gold card, EB5. So EB1 through to EB5 is also another eligibility category, which would help you adjust your status after you receive an approval. Now, if you're filing the EB2 national interest waiver, then remember that you're going to fall into what I discussed, the INA 245A, because a visa is not immediately available to you. You will have to check the priority date against the visa bulletin. And we discussed the visa bulletin as part of the news before we started the topic for the day. Okay, so green card through special immigrants. Special immigrants, you want to think about SIJ, special immigrant juvenile. So if you are a child under 21 years of age and you have been abandoned and you're in the custody of the government, you may qualify for SIJ, and that can also help you adjust your status. Religious worker. I'm sure you've all heard about the R1. What is the R1? So when someone comes into the United States to work for a nonprofit organization or a religious organization with a tax-exempt status, eventually they can adjust their status and then get a green card. There are other eligibility requirements as far as that is concerned. And then green card for international broadcasters as well, okay? So green card as special immigrants, SIJ, religious worker, and then international broadcasters. Now, you can also adjust your status by getting a green filing for the application to get a green card through asylum. So if you're able to prove credible fear of being persecuted if the U.S. does not allow you to remain here, you get the approval, you can adjust your status. That will also get you a green card. Okay, so green card through asylum. The most important thing to prove when it comes to asylum is a credible fear. There's a credible fear element, which is very difficult to prove. And so during President Trump's first term, he made it extremely difficult to prove credible fear, and he's still doing it. But after you have successfully gotten an approval for your asylum claim, you should be able to adjust your status as well. You can also adjust your status by getting a green card or filing for the application to get a green card for human trafficking and then victim of a crime, the U&T visa. Okay, and then for VAWA, so you get married to a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, and you're being abused. Remember that abuse does not only have to be physical, it can be mental, it can be financial. Document. It's important that you document your stuff, you document your evidence. Immigration, I love it because it's evidence-based, right? So long before you are you're invited to attend an interview, your documents, which is going to be the pieces of evidence you submit to the USCIS, is going to do the talking for you. And so VAWA, right, can also get you a green card. Now, after you have determined the eligibility requirements and then the category you fall in, what do you do? At this point, if you know that you got married to a green card holder, I mentioned it earlier, you have to wait for your priority date. You have to check the visa bulletin. However, if you got married to a U.S. citizen or a U.S. citizen parent or child filed for you, you can file concurrently, okay? Anytime an I-130 is filed and the petitioner for the I-130 is a U.S. citizen, remember that you don't have to wait for a priority date to become current. Once a citizen files for you, petition for you by filing the I-130, you can file concurrently. And so you don't have to wait for a visa to become available to you. So if your parent or your spouse or your child is filing for you and they are lawful permanent residents, then you have to check visa availability. We have discussed that. Now, after you have checked all these boxes, then you are ready to file for your adjustment of status. And the main form to file for your adjustment of status is the form I-485, okay? I-485 application to register for permanent residency or to adjust your status. Now, depending on the underlying petition, evidence can change. Okay, depending on the underlying petition, evidence can change. If it is an immediate family filing for you, the set of evidence is going to be different. If it is an employer filing for you, the pieces of evidence completely different. And if you're petitioning for yourself through either VAWA or the EB1A, B, C, or the EB2 national interest waiver, the pieces of evidence differ. It's not the same pieces of evidence that you're going to submit, but they are underlying evidence which cuts across all of them. Your birth certificate, your passport, your I-94, how you were admitted into the United States, okay? These are some of the pieces of evidence that cuts across. And you need a sponsor as well, okay? We discussed it as part of the news, the updates that I gave you. And so you want to make sure that you meet the requirements, the federal, check the federal poverty guidelines, make sure that you meet the requirement before you decide to sponsor anyone. And if you have any questions, by all means, please contact an attorney, contact me. Our office number 703-705-9905. So after you have filed your adjustment of status, it goes through intake. That's the first thing. It goes through the intake process. And then a receipt will be issued to you. And with that receipt, you can track the progress of your case. You can create a USCIS account to help you track the progress of your case. And then the next thing that is going to happen is you'll be called to, you'll be invited to get your biometrics done. I'll tell you this, Years ago, when you are submitting your adjustment of status, you did not need to add your medicals to it. As of last year, latter part of last year, the USCIS issued a notice that when you're filing adjustment of status, you should add your medicals to it. If you don't add your medicals to it, your petition will be rejected, which will mean that your petition is going to delay, and you don't want that. And so make sure that if you're filing the adjustment of status, you're definitely adding your medicals to it as well. Okay, so you add your medicals, you submit everything, your petition goes through intake. If everything looks good, great. If it doesn't look good, it's going to be rejected, and then you have to figure it out. If it looks good, then you'll be invited to get your biometrics done. Once biometrics is done, you wait, right? If the USCIS has any question, they need additional evidence, they're going to issue a request for evidence. And I know that can be scary. I know that can be scary. I have a very good friend. I attended school with this person, and we tried to change his status. And the USCIS issued a request for evidence, and there's another case that they issued intent to deny, and that can be scary. I remember receiving a text message from this friend of mine who said this friend cannot even sleep just because of the notice that the USCIS issued. So when you receive a request for evidence, it can be scary. An intent to deny notice, even worse, but there's always a way around it. Okay, if you receive a request for additional evidence, the USCIS is going to, the officer processing your petition is going to state it clear what they are looking for, what they want, what is not clear to them. So just provide that evidence, okay, to them. Hopefully, I say this all the time, hopefully you did not submit any evidence that contradicts anything that you gave them when you were trying to get a visa. We are immigrants. We listen. We don't judge. But I know immigrants lie a lot. I know. I'm an immigrant. I understand. Okay? I'm not judging anyone. I'm an immigrant myself. And I know we lie. Sometimes when you're trying to get a visa to come to the United States, you say all sort of things. You say all sort of things to get a visa. And then when you come in, the thing is that sometimes you use connection men. I hardly hear connection women. I always hear connection men. And I'm not even being biased, but I'm going to add connection women. So let's say you work with a connection man or woman, and you didn't even complete your DS-160 yourself, okay? And so you find yourself here in the United States. You do what you have to do, and you're ready to adjust your status. Now, because you don't even know the information you provided to the National Visa Center, and if you have followed me for a while, I'm sure you've heard me say USCIS, CBP, State Department, they are in bed together. They are in bed. And so whatever you provide to them when you're trying to get your visa, please maintain it. Just keep it going. Okay. Notice of intent to deny is scary. I'm telling you, it is scary. I understand. But if you sit here, right, if you're an attorney and someone reaches out to you that they filed their petition and they got a notice of intent to deny, what do? You just have to do the best that you can for the client. Okay. So like I was saying before, I saw the comments in there that notice of intent to deny is scary. Whatever information you provide to the National Visa Center when you're trying to get a visa, please remember. It's important that you do remember, because if you don't remember and then you submit something completely different to the USCIS when you're adjusting your status, when you're trying to get a green card. Many years ago, it was difficult to get those information, USCIS to get that information from the State Department. But now it is not. Actually, it's very easy to retrieve that information. And so they check. I have worked with the State Department before. Before I started my private practice, thank God, I was privileged to have done some great work. I'm sorry, that phone is going off. I was privileged to have done some great work for the federal government. Office of President, the Department of Interior, the Department of State, did some detail with the Department of Justice. And so I saw so much. And I remember very well in a training session in the State Department where they're ready to post people to the consular officers, right, who go abroad, and then they issue the visa. In a training session, you hear us tell them that you have a few seconds to a minute to make a decision. And don't just listen to them. Look at their DS-160. Don't just listen to them. Look at their body language or gesture, right? And so many things are happening when you're trying to get your visa. And if you happen to be in luck and you lied and you got a visa and you come here, my hope is that you remember whatever you provided to the National Visa Center, because it's right here. So now you adjust your status and then you receive a request for evidence. And the evidence that the USCIS is requesting for is something that I mean, you know that this is scary. What are you going to do? And so whatever information you provide to them, and by them, I mean National Visa Center, please keep it. Tell your friends. I think you should share this for people to listen. Tell them to keep track of it. Tell them to write it down. I mean, I document everything. I document every single thing, okay? I encourage you to do the same. But if you know you lied, whatever it is that you said to get the visa, please keep it going. Keep it moving. Because, and I've seen this many times. I've seen it multiple times, actually. People receive requests for evidence, and it is at that time they're looking for an attorney. And when you are filing your immigration benefits, you probably don't even think about your immigration history. I ask my clients all the time, how did you come into the country? And I always pull their I-94. It is the first thing that I do. No matter what evidence you give me, I would always go to check your I-94. It's important to know how you came in. Recently, latter part of last year, actually, a prospective client reached out. He was referred to me by someone I really respect, someone I absolutely respect and love. And so this lady calls me, and then we had a Zoom session. And I said, you know what, give me your passport. Just send me the scanned copy of your biodata page so that I check a few things. And the passport, listen, I have my passport from Ghana. So I know what I look like when I was relocating to the United States over a decade ago. But when I saw this person's passport, I'm like, this is not this person. The picture looked like a man, and this person is a woman. So I'm like, this is not you. And it was very difficult. It's very tricky. It's very, very tricky. And so we jump into the meeting over Zoom, and I'm asking questions. This passport clearly is a man, but this prospective client is a woman. And I understand. I'm an immigrant. I 100% understand. I know we lie. You see, I'm not saying you lie. I'm saying we. Immigrants, I understand. But I'm looking at this person's passport, and I had to, okay, my first reaction was, wait, what? And I remember quickly saying, give me a second. Because what she did was, she didn't even send the passport early enough. She sent the passport to me about 2 minutes. Just before, 2 minutes into the meeting was when she sent the passport to me. So I didn't even have time. But the moment I received it, and it was as though she hit send and then she logged on Zoom. And so here's this lady's face, pretty lady. And I said, I didn't receive your passport. She said, oh, I just sent it. And then I opened the passport, and I'm like, my initial reaction was, wait, what? I almost laughed, but I can't even laugh at her because I also know what I look like in my passport, the passport that I brought from Ghana. But my initial reaction was, wait, what? And then I said, can you give me a second? I muted it. I turned off the camera, And I started laughing here. Then I'm like, this is the typical immigrant that needs an attorney, right? And so I was shocked, Amma. I was shocked. And so quickly I pulled the I-94. And this is, I'll give you permission to pick your jaws up for what I'm about to say. The name on the I-94, the name in the passport was like day and night. 2 different names. So I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm going to create a safe space for you to tell me what is going on. Okay. And so, and at this point, this lady had actually received a request for evidence. And so it was more of a do or die. It was either she was going to get denied, be deported, or, she was going to get an approval. And so not only was the passport not for her, the passport was that of a man. And here am I having a Zoom session with a very beautiful lady. And then I pulled the I-94 quickly, and the name in the passport and the name on the I-94. And so we started talking. And then I asked one question after the other, and I understood. Okay. And immigration is beautiful. The fact that you must have empathy, the fact that you must understand, the fact that people are lying to you, your clients are lying to you. And you're looking at them like, listen, I get it. I know. And so I asked her, Madam, this passport, let me speak Arabic here. Passport radio, and then we all started laughing. She started laughing. It made me laugh too. It wasn't as though it was funny, but I just had to laugh. And she also, I had to speak Arabic for a second. I'm like, Madam, passport radio, and we all started laughing. But that's the most beautiful thing about immigration. Now, here's the thing. If she had filed this petition using an attorney, well, I can speak for myself. I would have checked all that. And then we would have come up with a strategy. But when you file an adjustment of status yourself, you don't use an attorney. And you know how you came to the country. You know the lies that you told. You are setting yourself up. And so here am I looking at this beautiful lady with a man's passport and a different name in I-94, and we just had to laugh about it. But we helped her. It was late, right? So what we did was we didn't respond. We didn't respond to the request for it because at this point, we needed to do more. So we didn't respond because responding was basically going to get her deported. So we didn't respond. We had to leave it. And then the USCIS denied her petition and we refiled. But by the time we were refiling, we had cleared a few things. We had done an extensive research. And then the passport was not for her. But whoever passport was, there was a mistake with the I-94. So we had to sort all those out. Now, here's the thing. Someone says you might accept it like that. Biko, I did accept it like that. I did accept it like that. But that's the most beautiful thing about immigration, right? The fact that you are able to put smiles on people's face. It doesn't matter how they came into the country. There's always ways around it all the time. And so we didn't respond to the request for evidence because we just didn't have to respond. Now, if she had used an attorney, if she had contacted me earlier, the strategy would have been different. The outcome would have been different. But because she filed this petition herself and then she received a request for evidence, we had to just let it be. USCIS denied it. And then we took our time, did legal research, and then we helped him. And so when you receive a request for evidence, it's extremely important that you read it, make sure you understand. Now, if it is one of those requests for evidence, like I just narrated, well, you know how you came in. You know. The thing is, you know what I mean. You know the thing. Please use an attorney. Don't file yourself. Don't do it. And so request for evidence will come after you have adjusted it. Maybe not, right? There are people that straightforward. We filed lots of these petitions for clients. Recently, a woman, in fact, her work authorization, Social Security, and her advance parole came in today, and her petition had been with the USCIS for just a month, and we got the approval for her work authorization and then the advance parole. USCIS issued a request for evidence, which we respond. In fact, the request for evidence was issued on today's Friday, was issued on Monday. I saw it in the attorney's account. I downloaded it, and they just wanted a W-2. When we were submitting the petition, I knew, I told the clients that we needed your tax transcript and then a W-2. They said they didn't know where it was. And so I said to them that, you know what, we can send it out or wait for you to find it. We can send it out and then look forward to a request for evidence. And that's exactly what happened. We received a request for evidence, and we actually responded to it today. And this has happened in just a month. Okay. And so if thankfully you don't receive a request for evidence, then maybe not, you will be invited to attend an interview after you have filed your adjustment of status. I've seen it everywhere that people, and even some of my attorney friends, have said that their clients are being invited to attend interviews. I cannot speak to that because none of my clients have attended an interview for their I-130. Of course, we cannot completely waive an interview for the N-400, but when you're filing for a marriage-based green card, maybe we're doing something right. My clients are not being invited. And don't go and tell USCIS that I'm here saying that so that they start inviting my clients. That's not nice. Don't do that, okay? That's just by the way. So none of my clients have been invited to attend an interview, which is great. And even for my clients that we have filed the EB-1 for, none of them have been invited to attend an interview, but I've had other attorney friends say that they have their clients being invited to an interview. Recently, a friend of mine called me and said, "Are you sure you haven't received an interview invitation?" I said no. And then she said, "What are you doing right?" I'm like, well, let's say that's my trade secret. I'm not going to let you know. So request for evidence, maybe not. Interview, maybe not. At this point, you wait for a decision. Now, if you're invited to attend an interview, then you want to prepare for your adjustment of status. You really want to prepare for that. Okay. Like I said, they are looking at you, they are listening to you. And recently I did a video on some of the things to consider, or some tips for to help you prepare for your interview. Make sure you go in early. Make sure that you don't interrupt the officer, and the officer is not your friend. The officer does not represent your interest. It is your attorney that represents your interest. And having an attorney in some of these interviews is a game changer. It's a game changer. And so I highly recommend that you always, even if you decide to file the petition yourself, which I don't recommend, but if you decide to file it yourself and you're invited to attend an interview, please go with an attorney. Retain the services of an attorney at that point, and then attend the interview with the attorney. Okay. It's a game changer, because at this point, without the attorney, it's between you and the officer. If anything goes wrong, it's going to be very, very difficult for anyone to believe when you say anything derogatory about how the officer conducted the interview. But if there's an attorney there, the presence of the attorney is actually going to change everything. And the officers know better. They always know better when an attorney is involved. So these are the steps. Now, if you're invited to attend an interview for your I-130, make sure that you and your spouse prepare. Okay? Get an attorney to prep you on some of the questions that can be asked. It's very important that you do. You don't want to get a Stokes interview. The Stokes interview is when you're separated, right? And you're being interviewed at the same time. So it's not as though one person is going to be interviewed and then we'll have the chance to compare or to talk to the other spouse. That's not how the Stokes interview works. You're going to be separated in different rooms. You don't want that. So make sure that if you're invited to attend interview, you're getting it. It has to be one shot, and then you're done. Okay. So that is it for adjustment of status. Fees for adjustment of status has increased. Now it is 1,440 for people 14 years and older. And then I believe it is 950. It's less than 960, 900 and something. Let me say it that way. 900 and something for people below 14, the age of 14. So that is it for the adjustments of status. I'm going to take some questions. I can't believe I've been talking for an hour. Wow. Lawyers like to talk, huh? I think it's also the story that I told, the lady that gave me the shock of my life. A very pretty lady who brings me the passport of a man. Interesting stuff. So I'm going to take some questions and we'll call it a day. So please ask your questions and still share. It's not too late to share for others to join. And please make sure that your questions are clear. And no answer is legal advice. Whatever I say here is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, please give my office a call, 703-705-9905, and schedule a consultation session so that I can give you legal advice, okay? So I'm going to take some questions. Please make sure your questions are clear, straightforward, concise, and please make it short. Summarize it, okay? Summarize it for me so that I can see Facebook there. Yeah. Facebook, are we safe? Are we okay? I hope so. Please share so that others will join. I'm going to take some questions and then I'll let you go. It's Friday, right? Okay. Why does the progress time on my I-130 keeps going up and down? It's dancing, eh? It moved from 16 months to 19 months. I don't know. I recommend, I highly recommend that you, I thought I put this phone on mute. I highly recommend that you call the USCIS or send an email to the logbox, okay? I think the email address is logboxsupport at, I'll pull it up and give it to you. So you can send an email to logbox. I'll pull the email address. I think it's logbox support email. Let's see. Okay, so it's logbox support at uscis.dhs.gov. Logbox support at uscis.dhs.gov. But if you did work with an attorney, then by all means, please get your attorney to jump on it. Okay. Okay, so someone is asking on Facebook, hello, I would like to know what's the criteria to decide the interview types. I don't understand the question. So please clarify. I don't understand. I don't understand what you mean by interview types and then the criteria to decide. So please clarify so that I can give you an answer, okay? So for the one whose I-130 progress time keeps going up and down, please, I mean, it keeps increasing. It moved from 16 to 19 months. Please send an email to logboxsupport at uscis.dhs.gov. If you have an attorney, get your attorney to contact the USCIS on your behalf. Okay. So someone is asking a question. If I don't understand the question, I won't even read it. Okay. So make sure that your question is clear so that I can help you. Okay, so hi, my A number on I-94 is not the same A number on I-730, I-797C. That's a notice of action. How can I fix that? I'm not sure you have an A number on your travel record, your travel document. I'm not sure. that you're supposed to have an A number there. So you only get an A number when you file an adjustment of status, and your travel record shouldn't have an A number. And so if you do have an A number on your travel record, please give me a call. Okay, 703-705-9905. Okay. Okay, so came on Esther, married, applied for adjustment of status, but the lawyer caused delays, overstayed. Can I get in trouble? If you're married to a U.S. citizen and you have your you have a receipt, I think you should be fine. I'm not sure what you mean by your lawyer caused delays and overstay. But if you're married to a U.S. citizen and you do have a receipt to show that, I mean, I think the times we find ourselves in is crazy. But just have your receipt handy, and make sure that you do have your marriage certificate as well, just in case. Okay, just in case. Okay, so I've received clarification that I mean when they separate the couples in interview process versus interviewing. Okay, so oftentimes the first interview, both of you are in the same room. You're being asked the same questions. Now, when an officer is not able to make a decision, if the officer is unable to make a decision after the interview because your answers were not consistent, and I've seen this play out many times. Okay, I remember that before I started working in the federal with the federal government or for the federal government, I used to work with an Indian law firm, and we did immigration at the time in that Indian law firm. And a few times, you know, when we are prepping the couple for their interview, you notice that an officer is asking the petitioning spouse a question, and then the beneficiary spouse is answering the question. But oftentimes, the answer the beneficiary spouse is given is completely different from the answer that the petitioning spouse is also given. And so when that happens, the inconsistency is going to cause the officer to sit back and say, your marriage may not be bona fide. And so after it has happened a few times and the officer is unable to make a decision at the end of the interview, that is when oftentimes you are invited to attend a second interview where both of you are separated. And so it's important that you are prepped. And again, we are immigrants. I do understand. But here's the thing. If you're married to someone and you live in the same house with a person, chances are you know the person's routine. You know your spouse's routine. You know what time, let's say you don't even know what time they go out for work, but at least you know the time they come in. And so when you attend an interview and you are asked a question about your spouse's routine and you are not sure, it's okay not to know. It's okay not to know an answer in an interview. What is not okay is your spouse saying A and you are saying B. I remember that at the time when we will prep our clients, that's when I worked for this law firm all the way in oh God, I can't remember the name. But this particular man he trained me so much that I would prep our clients to attend interviews. Okay. And I used to tell them that it's okay that you don't know your spouse's favorite color or you don't know the color of your spouse's toothbrush. It is in how you answer the question. Now, if your spouse, if number one, if the question is to the petitioning spouse and the petitioning spouse is even getting it wrong or is saying the wrong thing or says the wrong thing, the question was not to you in the first place. Now, it is when you fidget, is when you try to correct your spouse that an officer will sit back and ask him or herself whether your marriage is bona fide, right? Are they even being truthful? Do they live together? Do they know what they're saying? If you are not sure, because we are immigrants, and I understand. And so if you're asked certain questions, what is the color of, and it will surprise you the kind of questions that are asked during some of these interviews. So one, it is the inconsistency. If you are inconsistent and you are fidgeting and you are not sure and you're lying, like your spouse is saying red, you're saying blue. And then sometimes I remember one time many years ago when we were prepping a couple to attend an interview. I remember sitting with, God bless Attorney Bano, that's his name, Attorney Bano, amazing man. We are prepping them, and one client, so you ask a question and the beneficiary spouse is basically saying, oh, he comes in at 5. Then the man says, no, I don't come in at 5, I come in at 6, interrupting each other, making it so obvious that the one that was asked the question and is answering the question is getting it wrong. That becomes a problem. And so it is some of these things that will give you out. And these are some of the things that happens in the initial interview that would cause the officer to invite you to attend a second interview. I tell people all the time that now I have been fortunate that I haven't had any client of mine attend a marriage-based interview. But should we find ourselves there, and anytime a client tries to retain me, I tell them that we're going to prep you and you have to listen. I tell them all the time that you must listen, you must follow my lead, you must follow everything that we are asking you to do. Now, I don't live in your homes, and so I won't be able to tell the color of your toothbrush, on which side of the bed does who sleeps, who wakes up first, what did you have for dinner last night. I won't be able to tell all that because I don't live with you. But at least you must listen and know that when the officer is asking the petitioning spouse, it is the petitioning spouse that is answering. If the petitioning spouse is getting it wrong, you must be emotionally intelligent to sit still. It's not the time to, oh my God, to act up. No, because you're giving yourselves help. So that's what happens most of the time. These are some of the things that happens that will cause an officer to request for a second interview. Okay. Do you offer mock interviews for marriage-based? I think I just said that. Yes. Yes, we do. We do. Okay. We do. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Can I ask the USCIS to hold my marriage-based green card in you mean in advance? Well, please clarify your question so that I can help you. Also, I have an MBA in accounting and finance. I'm pursuing my CPA. Can I file the EB1 or the EB2? So you're very welcome. You're so welcome. So depending on, it's not enough that you have an MBA in accounting and finance and you're pursuing your CPA. It's not enough. What I do with my clients for EB1, EB2. So if you're doing the regular EB2, you need a sponsor. Let me throw that in there. If you're doing the regular EB2, you do need a sponsor, and the sponsor is your employer. If you're doing the EB2 national interest waiver, you don't need a sponsor, you don't need an employer. And so I'm not even going to assume that the EB2 you asked is the national interest waiver. And so that's that. But then for the EB1, it's not enough that you have an MBA in accounting. There are a few boxes to check, right? Whether you have a leading or critical role in the organization that you worked, whether you have some publications that you have done, which would help us make an argument for original contribution, whether you have things published about you in the media or any professional journal, which is going to help us make an argument for you with published material, if it's in the media. Okay, and so there's a lot more boxes to check. And the fact that you have an MBA in accounting and finance, which is great, I really respect you for that. It may not be enough for me to determine your eligibility. What we do for our clients is that I always request that the client send me their CV to evaluate. And so the first thing that we do for our EB1 clients and then the EB2 national interest waiver clients is that we are going to evaluate your CV to determine your eligibility. I don't like to schedule paid consultation sessions with prospective clients when I haven't reviewed or evaluated their CV for the EB1 or the EB2, because that meeting won't be productive. And so I always like to evaluate your CV. So I won't be able to say you should file for the EB1 or EB2 because I won't be able to determine your eligibility just by reading that you have an MBA in accounting and finance. I think it's a great accomplishment, but we need more to determine your eligibility for both the EB1 and the EB2. And so this is what I'm going to ask you to do. If you want to pursue that, please send your CV to info@ablegalconsult.com. Okay, update your resume. I tell people all the time, for the EB1 and the EB2 national interest waiver, it's not a time to be modest. We have to brag about your accomplishments. We have to brag about the hard work, the work you have put in. And so please, 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 if you're looking to apply for the EB1 or the EB2, by all means, please send your CV to info@ablegalconsult.com. We are going to evaluate your CV, and in response to that email, you're going to receive the calendar. You're going to receive my calendar to schedule a meeting with me. Okay, you're not going to speak to paralegal. You're going to speak to me over Zoom, and I'm going to show you the evaluation of your CV. Now, if we determine that you are not an eligible candidate for the EB1, EB2, maybe we can help you build your profile, and we are going to direct you on how to build your profile. You just have to give yourself some time to become eligible, and that will be discussed. Now, if you're not eligible, you won't schedule a paid consultation at all. We have integrity, so we won't take your money when we know you're not eligible. What we're going to do is I'll give you a call after reviewing or evaluating your CV, and I will let you know that, listen, I did evaluate your CV. You are not an eligible candidate for the EB1 or the EB2, and I'm going to make recommendation on how you can build your profile to become eligible. Okay? Kenny, I hope you're good. Okay, let's see. Are there any more questions? So let's see. Okay. I'm sorry if you've, there are like 99 questions at the bottom, but okay. Can a marriage registered in one state be filed in another state? So if you're filing for an immigration benefit and you got married in state A, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can apply for an adjustment of status. It doesn't matter. Okay? So you can definitely apply for an adjustment of status. Okay. My spouse is a green card holder. I came to the US and I have overstayed my visa. Can my spouse file for me? Your spouse can file for you, even though your spouse is a green card holder, but you won't be able to adjust your status immediately. You won't be able to file concurrently because your spouse is a green card holder. What you have to do is to wait and then basically wait for your priority date to become current. It is at that point that you will be able to adjust your status. I highly recommend that you keep your eye on the visa bulletin when you decide to file. But by all means, please file. I would rather you file, even as a green card holder, and have a receipt showing that you're married, than to be here illegally with everything happening, especially if you have any underlying circumstance or situation, like any removal order or any criminal record and all that. And so, yeah. Mr. Mainu, I sent an email, but I haven't received your reply. Did you send it to the info, the inquiry email address? Please let me know. And I'll personally take a look. Okay. I'm sorry that we have missed your email. I'm so sorry, Mr. Bernard Enimeno. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I would check. Okay. Okay. Can't afford adjustment of status. Can I file work permits only? Married to a U.S. citizen? No. So the adjustment of status comes with that. It comes with it is one of the benefits that you get. And so when you say you cannot afford, Christina, when you say you cannot afford the adjustment of status, what do you mean? Give me a call, okay? 703-705-9905. Please give me a call. Ish, I just spoke Arabic. I just said Ish. Bernard, that is my email address. I will take a look at it right after the live stream. I am so sorry that I missed it. I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry. Please forgive me. I will check my email for your email. What is your email address, please? Can you forward the email? So since you have my email address, please forward the email so that I'll check. I mean, once I get into my email, I'm going to see it. So please forward it to me so I take a look after. And I'm very sorry that I missed it. Okay. Christina, the one who says they cannot afford the adjustment of status, please give me a call. 70. Call me on Monday, not today. After the live stream, I want to go home. So please don't call me today. Call me on Monday, okay? Christina, 703-705-9905. Give me a call so that we discuss the fact that you can't afford the adjustment of status. And you have 2 children. I'm sorry to hear that. Give me a call, okay? 703-705-9905. Okay. Oh, your last lawyer was charging 10K. There should be a reason why your lawyer is charging 10K for adjustment of status. If there's no underlying issue, no underlying situation, I don't foresee how an adjustment of status your attorney is going to charge 10K. That's why you can afford it. You can afford me. I don't charge 10K for an adjustment of status. So please give me a call. Okay. Okay. So someone says I want to file for my sister in the UK. I'm a US citizen. How fast is that? How old is your sister? We need to, coming from Paul, I need to know your sister's age. Okay. I need to know your sister's age. I don't recommend filing for siblings unless your sibling has oh, is it my own? I'm sorry. Okay, because I saw, okay. So siblings, I don't recommend that you file for it. It takes a very, very, very long time. As of last year, it was like 20 something years when you file for a sibling who is above 21 years of age. So I don't recommend. There are other ways. Please, Mama Mary from Pong, please give me a call. Please give me a call so that there are other ways. There are other ways that we can get your sister here. So please let's talk. Let's talk so that we navigate through this. Okay. Thank you. So the one asking whether you can adjust your status if you're an inmate, I don't understand. There's always more to the story. So the one who is asking that if you're an inmate, whether you can adjust your status, please give me a call, okay? 703-705-9905. I have to ask you a few questions before I can give you an answer. I have to. So the best answer I can give you, and I'm not even trying to sound legalese, is it depends. It depends. Okay. Please, will you fly to another state to attend an interview with a client? Absolutely, baby Ruth. You retain me, you purchase my ticket, and depending on the time, if the interview is in the morning, you have to fly me into the state the day before, and then if the interview is in the afternoon, you can fly me into the state the morning of the interview. So baby Ruth, yes, please. But I would love to prep you and your spouse before the interview. If you decide to retain me, that's what we are going to do. Okay. I received an RFE for medicals only. I submitted my exam at the end of September. How long? I guess you're asking how long you would have to wait. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could tell you wait for 2 months, wait for 3 months, wait for 6 months, wait for 1 year. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to sit here and say I can give you all the answers. Okay. What we can do for you, what we can answer, we will answer. But if you submitted a request for evidence in September, and so that's what I tell people, listen, if I handle immigration petitions as though I have just one shot at it. And so I make sure that I dump everything into the sink. And by everything, I mean relevant evidence. You have to give the USCIS relevant evidence, dump everything into the sink so that they won't have a reason to come to you. If I have any clients here, they will tell you, oftentimes I know the USCIS will come for evidence. And I tell the clients, I always do tell the clients that because we don't have this, the USCIS will come back for this. Most of the time, like 99.9% of the time, it has happened so many times, too many times actually. I'm almost always able to tell whether we are going to get a request for evidence or not, all the time. But I handle all my petitions as though I have one shot, just one jab at it. And so I give them all the relevant evidence so that they don't have a reason to come back. Now, if the USCIS spends time reviewing your, and by the USCIS, I mean the officer reviewing your petition, reviews the petition, or it's processing your case, and they need more evidence, it gives them time to lazy around, for want of a better word. It gives them time to shelve it and then come back. But if you are able to give them everything and they pick your filing packet, there's everything in there. Check, 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 check. It goes faster. And so I wish I could tell you that it's going to take 3 more months, 6 more months, 7 more months, but I won't be able to, and I don't even want to lie to you. So it's a waiting game. So please wait. Okay? Please wait. Can undocumented travel via air to another state? When you say undocumented, what do you mean? I have clients who are undocumented and they have moved from one state to the other. But being undocumented is just a little bit of it. How did you enter the country? Were you admitted into the country? If you were admitted to the country, you have your passport. You should be able to. Now, if you were not admitted into the country, you don't have to travel. You don't have to. Okay. Hey, my mom is here. Everybody should say hello to my mom. Okay, how long does it take to adjust your status? Oh, he has a driving license, please. So when you're flying internally, domestic travel, all you need is your license. Anytime I have had to travel from one state to the other, I am a US citizen, but I always use my driver license. So, hey, yeah, everybody's saying hi. Please say hello to my mom. Hello, mom. Everybody's saying hello to you. Is it safe to travel with advanced parole? Okay, listen. The purpose for the advanced parole is for you to travel while you have a petition pending. Okay, that's the purpose of it. I've heard too many stories about why people cannot travel with an advanced parole. That is the purpose of the document. That is the purpose of the document. I haven't experienced any clients travel with the advanced parole and not be able to come back. So without an advanced parole, when you have a petition pending, you cannot travel. And so with the advanced parole, you're basically saying that I have a petition pending, but I can travel. And that is the purpose of the document. And so, for God's sake, that's the things that happens in this compound house social media space is frightening. But I haven't experienced any client travel with the advanced parole and not be able to come back. And if you have ever applied for the advanced parole, there's a part that basically says that do you want the documents to be mailed to you, as in you're physically here, you want the document to be mailed to you, or you want the document to be mailed to the consular office abroad. So let's say you're traveling to Nigeria. You have the option to say the document should be mailed to you or the document should be mailed there. So I hope you catch my drift. I don't see how. Please feel free to travel. But because of the times we find ourselves, this is what I tell my clients. If it's absolutely necessary, please travel. If you can do without it, please don't. Okay? If the trip is absolutely necessary that you embark on it, please do. If it's not, don't. Okay? So that's going to be my answer. When can I start applying for EB2 as an F1 PhD student? You can start anytime. In fact, if you're doing the EB2 NIW, and I want you to get the difference between the EB2 and the EB2 NIW. They are all for professionals, advanced degree holders, yes. But then with the EB2 NIW, you don't need a sponsor. With the EB2, you need a sponsor. And so if you're trying to file for the EB2 as an F1 PhD student, you need a sponsor. But if you're filing for the EB2 NIW as a PhD holder, please go ahead and file. You don't have to even complete your PhD to file for the EB2 NIW because priority date is not current. And so you need time. You need plenty of time for when your priority date becomes current. And you don't want to be out of status by the time your priority date is current. And so if you're in school now, chances are you have like a year and a half to complete school. You have your OPT as well. And it all buys you time. And so if you apply now, by the time you're done with your PhD, and PhD is so many years actually, by the time you're done with your PhD, hopefully you get an approval, and you get an approval when you work with me, okay? So hopefully you get an approval for your EB2 NIW, and then you can adjust your status by the time your priority date is due or it's current. And hopefully by then you probably will still be in your PhD program or be done with your PhD program. You never know. So yes, please file now, anytime. Someone is asking whether I attended University of Ghana, Legon. It's the only school in Ghana anyway. It's the only university in Ghana. So of course, there's only one university in Ghana. It's University of Ghana. And then we have the rest. So yes, I did. Okay, I did. Please don't come for me. I'm just kidding. Before people come for me. But yes, I did. Okay. All right, guys. See, I have so much fun when I'm doing this that I lose track of time. It's always a pleasure that I get to spend my Fridays with you. I love to do this, and I look forward to doing it again. Now, this is what I want you to do. Please follow our social media pages. There's something big happening this year for AB Legal Consult, and you won't know until you follow our pages, okay? So please follow our pages, AB Legal Consult, across all social media platforms except TikTok, which is The Immigrant's Attorney. And so please follow our social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and then YouTube. So we post videos on YouTube all the time. Please follow, subscribe, and we also have a WhatsApp group page. So with a WhatsApp group page, I answer the questions myself. And you know what people are doing there? Let me tell you what people are doing there. People are taking advantage, and I know some of them too. People are taking advantage to ask legal questions, and because I said I'll answer them, I answer the questions, and they won't even pay for consultation. Don't do that, okay? Please don't do that. It's not nice. Don't do that. But please, you should join our WhatsApp group page. It's fun. Anytime people ask questions and it applies to other people, and anytime there's a video, the page gets to people on the page gets to see it first before it goes on our social media pages, and I answer every question there myself. It's not the paralegal, it's not anybody on the social media team. I answer the questions myself. And so be rest assured that all the answers will be coming from me. And from time to time, I give tips and tricks, as far as immigration is concerned. And if I am your attorney, one of the benefits my clients get when they retain me, for those who are undocumented that are trying to adjust their status, they have my number on speed dial. So when they are traveling, I know when they are moving, changing locations or moving from point A to point B, I know because of the times we find ourselves in. But there's one particular person, the person will text me 9 something, 10 something. I'm like, oh, so won't I sleep? Don't do that. Okay. So when you get the number and then you have me on speed dial, remember that if I don't sleep sound, I won't be able to save you. So don't text at night. Okay. Text during the day. But for all my clients that travel, I have their dates in my calendar. I know when they're traveling, and when they are going through the airport security and everything, I tend to be aware just in case anything goes wrong. I know exactly what to do. So it's important that you have an attorney like me, not the others, someone like me. Okay, so please keep an eye on our social media pages, follow, share, subscribe to our YouTube, and please subscribe to our email lists. Okay, I think currently we have like 500 people, and they are actually getting all the gist. Okay, they know everything happening, the in and outs of AB Legal. They know. And once you subscribe to the page, you also get an immigrant's guide that I put together. You get it for free. It's a 10-page booklet that I put together, and this booklet is from the things that I wish I knew when I relocated here that I didn't know. So if you have followed me, especially those that attend the webinar on Wednesday. So we have a webinar that happens on Wednesdays, and to have access to the link that would make you be part of that webinar, you have to subscribe to the email list. And this is what happens. You're going to get some videos for free. You're going to get the Immigrant's Guide for free. And like I said, the Immigrant's Guide, 10-page booklet, super easy to read, mobile friendly. Listen, you can read it in 10 or 15 minutes. That is if you're a fast reader, but tops 30 minutes, you should be done. And these are things I wish I knew when I relocated to the United States. I navigated the immigration system myself. I don't recommend that you do it by yourself, but some of the things that I learned, some of the things that are going to be extremely helpful to you are all in the Immigrant's Guide. And so, yeah. Okay, so someone says, every immigrant should come listen to you because you calm down hearts. Thank you. I do appreciate that. So I have said to my team that we are not going to be part of the attorneys that are breaking the news in a way to scare people. It's enough that we have President Trump in power, who is doing a lot to immigrants, the immigrants community. It's enough. And so there's no point in joining the bandwagon of attorneys that are instilling fears, right? You don't want to do that. It's important that you have empathy because the work that we do. So if you check our website, it is there that for us here at AB Legal Consult, immigration is more than the paperwork. It is another human being. It's another American dream. And so you have to humanize the work that you do. And that's what we do here. We humanize the work that we do. And so thank you for that compliment. We do appreciate that. My team will be excited to read this. Okay, someone says, Madam, is it true that if one overstays a VISTA visa, one cannot return to the United States? It is true. Because when you enter the United States, you're given 6 months to be here. And so if you overstay your visa, you don't adjust your status. You don't find a way of adjusting your status, and then you exit. You have violated the purpose of your visa, which is the B1, B2. You have violated an immigration law, and it's going to be very, very difficult for you to come back. So please don't overstay your visa. And I think in the immigrant's guide, I put it in there. Always have the end in sight. Have the end in sight. So if you're coming to the United States, chances are you know you want to overstay. Chances are you don't intend to go back. But there are times that you don't even plan it that way, but life just happens. I think latter part of last year, a lady reached out. She came on a B1, B2. She did what President Trump is trying to end. She came here to give birth, and she had complications. She gave birth the children. She had twins, actually, and so much complication. The mistake she made was she didn't contact an attorney. And so she overstayed the visa, and she just couldn't go back. And she's married. And so it was extremely difficult for her to, adjust her status. And so she last minute, she reached out to me, and I told her that, listen, it's unfortunate that all these happened and you didn't speak to an attorney, but there's always ways around it. And so let us see what we can do. We filed a change of an extension. We filed an extension, the form I-5 something. We filed the change, the extension for her. And I collected all her medical records, all of them, all her medical records. I did this thing with so much faith, but I also did it very afraid. I told her that I was going to do the best that I can for her. Now, immigration benefits, nobody has a right to an immigration benefit. Purely discretionary. And so I said to her that we are going to file for an extension for you. At this point, she was way out of status. And she was on a B1, B2. And so the moment we submitted the extension, USCIS comes back with an intent to deny. And I have a client who has an intent to deny, and he couldn't sleep. USCIS issued an intent to deny notice for this client. And I called her and I told her, okay, we have an intent to deny, but we're going to explain what happened. We are going to be very honest. We are going to be very truthful. We're going to explain what happened and why. And so we did exactly that. I took pictures. I made her send me pictures of the babies. If you are a human being and you have empathy, and then you saw that petition that we put together, you wouldn't think twice. And so it's important that you humanize the work. We humanize the work that we do, and hopefully other people do the same. And so we're very honest, we're very truthful. We gave a whole narration. I added pictures, exhibits upon exhibits from her ultrasound. Number one, why she even came here to give birth. I did explain that. I did explain why she came here to give birth, because on a B1, B2, come and visit and go. But most people come to give birth, and we are immigrants. We listen, we don't judge, right? But we put the petition together. I was very, very detailed evidence. Her doctor in Ghana that said to her that if she has a visa, she should come here. I took letters from her doctors in Ghana, different exhibits, but the underlying factor is that we humanize the petition. We made the officer know that if you really have blood in you, if you're a human being, really, truly, you're going to grant the extension. And she did receive the extension. So, in as much as immigrants lie, sometimes your best bet is the truth. But it's also important that we learn to humanize the work that we do, because these papers, they are just papers, right? They are just papers. All these immigration papers, they are just papers. But these papers represent human beings. It does represent an American dream. So it's someone's blood. And so we have to do what we have to do. All right, guys, I can't believe it. It's 7:15 already. So enjoy your weekend. Stay well, stay safe. And if you have a removal order, if you do have any criminal records, you are an enforcement priority. You are the people President Trump is looking for. If you came through the border, you are the people President Trump is looking for. Please be safe. Take care of yourselves. It's a good time to retain the services of an attorney, so you can have your attorney on speed dial. Let your friends know where you are at every point in time. Okay, let your friends know. I know that recently I saw someone put on Facebook that when an African is traveling from Kumasi to Accra, everybody will know. But the moment it's an international travel, they don't tell anybody. I'm not sure why. But for the purpose of the times we find ourselves, please, it's okay if you're moving from destination A to destination B. Let someone know. If you don't trust your family members, if you don't trust your friends, retain the services of an attorney. You know why? Because your attorney is bounded by confidentiality, attorney-client privilege. Your attorney cannot disclose anything to anybody. But if you know you're an enforcement priority, it's a good time to have an attorney who is basically going to keep you in check, not just keep you in check as in control you, but for you to let your attorney know where you are at every point in time, because you never know. You never know. So if you're an enforcement priority, please take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. Update your contact list where you are at every point in time. Get an attorney and just stay safe. If you ever hear that ICE is in your community or your neighborhood, run away. Don't stay there. Don't stay. Run away. Okay, run away. Don't stay. Don't let them come and catch you. It's not godly. It's not godly that you let ICE come and catch you. It's not nice. Move. Don't stay there. But most importantly, stay well, stay safe, and enjoy your weekend. If you need an attorney to represent you in your immigration pursuit, listen, we do EB1s, EB2, NIW. We can serve you. If you're looking to adjust your status through marriage, we can serve you. We are licensed to assist you across all 50 states. I actually have lots of clients abroad. And so we can serve you. We can represent you across all 50 states, no matter where you are. So feel free, give us a call, 703-705-9905. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Stay well, stay safe. And thank you so much for joining. Good night.